So, as you might recall, I'm not a big fan of people randomly breaking out into song. And I say randomly because from the trailers for this movie, it seemed like it didn't have much of a storyline. You know what I'm saying? Like, the flimsy storyline was only there to justify musical number after musical number after musical number. Which is not to say I felt the movie would be horrible, but I felt, it really wasn't made for me. I'm not the target audience for Sing. So imagine my surprise when I discovered that Sing is the voice in some ways, but it's also the producers. And I loved every toe-tapping, head-bobbing, eye-popping minute of it. So good. I can't believe how good this movie is. And I'm serious about comparing it to the producers. And Matthew McConaughey's Buster Moon is, I think, you could argue, an adorable little version of Gene Wilder's character in that film. He certainly has the heart that, kind of Gene Wilder brought to all of his roles. There's a lot of heart in this movie. Now, there isn't a Zero Mostel character, and the closest it comes to a villain is, I would say, Seth MacFarlane's, little Frank Sinatra mouse. Although that mouse at some points was so cruel that people at my press screening spoke out and I wouldn't want to be that mouse after the movie because I think some people will be waiting for him outside the theater. But anyway, while the movie doesn't have, that kind of edge that the producers does about the underbelly of show business, it's still, I would say, realistic, surprisingly realistic, even for an all-ages movie. For instance, mostly when people talk to, kids about showbiz, they're like, all that matters is you love it. And that's not true. That's important, but that's not true. And I really respect Sing for not perpetuating that myth. Sing says that you have to have talent. And some of the zingers during the audition process from Matthew McConaughey's Buster Moon were biting and hilarious. I was like, wow, it was shades of Inside Llewyn Davis there for a moment too. But what it says is that you have to have talent, but where the love comes in is that it's the love of what you're doing and the people you work with and the people in your personal life who support you who will sustain you as you hone that talent and try to get it discovered. I mean, it's a marathon, not a sprint. And sometimes talent doesn't get recognized simply because the opportunity doesn't present itself. Very, very sophisticated movie, too. I can't believe it. Also, speaking of trying to make it in showbiz, while the producers took place in New York City, this takes place in Los Angeles. They don't say Los Angeles, but, as someone who's been to Los Angeles, it's totally Los Angeles. And that was really cool because Los Angeles is, of course, the capital of people trying to make it big with big dreams, sometimes big talent, but also big hurdles. And, often they depict Los Angeles as either the glitz or where dreams go to die. This was like a happy middle ground where it's like, yeah, you're living your life, you'd like to be part of showbiz, but you find yourself just right on the edge of it. And it's both, it's very cruel in some ways, but it's also very tantalizing. But still, I can't believe this movie still manages to be upbeat. It's amazing. So yes, it's a very deep movie, and this is where the voice comes in, even beyond the singing. So every time they do, a singing competition, they'll let's meet our contestants. What's their home life like? And this movie does that to some degree, within the narrative. It doesn't have it doesn't have backstage interviews or something like that. But I thought that was really great. And it also has, I think, the elements of the voice. That's why I picked that singing competition, because they have coaches that try to encourage the talent and work with them. And that's kind of what Buster Moon does here. He notices things that, tweaks. He's a good director-producer that would help his singers. And so I liked meeting each of the characters. And I think it's the genius of that from a business point of view is that there's a character here that will speak to everybody, which is going to make, I think, this movie have a very broad appeal because there's different genders, different age ranges. It's all very, very good. Also implied different ethnicities because, they're all animals. But I liked seeing what was holding these people back in their personal lives, both in terms of pursuing a singing career and also just personally, what was just holding them back as people. So I thought that was great. Really, really honest and truthful film. And a lot of great messages. So there's just so many messages. You could throw a porcupine quill, that's a great gag in the movie, at it, and you'll hit a message. But my favorite messages, without giving anything away in the movie, there are a lot of great twists and turns, and even though sometimes you see them coming, the way they come is just so well done that you're like, oh, I can't believe you did it. You actually did it well. But my favorite messages, without ruining anything, are: one, being an entertainer isn't about being famous, but about the joy of creating a shared experience. Wow, such a healthy message about showbiz. Two, the importance of how our parents see us and trying to truly become that person. Both the joy of potentially doing that and the horror of maybe not. Oh, so good. And then three, how important it is to be positive and supportive, not just of one another, people you know in life, but just people you come across. We have a thing today with the internet, a lot of haters. A lot of people like to tear people down for entertainment. And I love that this movie showed the importance of building people up, and that's something that we should try and do as a society. So I love that. I'm also blown away by the talent of writer-director Garth Jennings. Like Storks with Nick Stoller, this is an established, well, semi-established, live-action talent going to animation. I'm telling you, this is the future of animation. I thought that Jon Favreau basically made an animated movie with The Jungle Book. I was really impressed with what Nicholas Stoller accomplished with Storks, and now I'm equally impressed with what Garth Jennings has accomplished here with Sing. And what happens is when you bring these live action people in, they tell these streamlined, honest stories with real stakes. And I'm beginning to see the difference between animated movies and live action movies. And that animated movies, because they're famously told by storyboard, that they have this told by committee feel, and that there are these gags and vignettes that are put together like to build a larger story. But they do seem a little disjointed sometimes. That's why they work so well as clips, right? But what this, like Sing, feels like a real movie, and I was really impressed with that. Also, Garth Jennings does the voice of Miss Crowley. Miss Crowley is such a unique, inventive, and funny character, and the fact that a guy does the voice, I would say that Miss Crowley is right up there with Roz, a totally different kind of character, like a different vibe, but with Roz from Monsters, Inc. Loved Miss Crowley. I also thought that just like the script was very honest, I thought that it led to very honest performances as well. The acting in this movie, oh my goodness, so good. My favorites, everybody did a good job. Not a bad voice performer in the group. But my favorites, my three standouts are Matthew McConaughey, not a paycheck gig. He throws himself into the role of Buster Moon, heart and soul, and you can feel it. You can hear it, I guess is what you could say. And by the way, the animators back up these performances with really good, animation. The character, not only is the voice performance good, but when I'm watching on screen, has I see animals with great little subtle moments. It's like, wow. Also, Buster Moon has one of the best sight gags I've ever seen. It's just absolutely hilarious. I was laughing so hard. When you see it, you will know what I'm talking about. It comes out of nowhere. Also, Scarlett Johansson. She did the voice in her, but she was just so good here. She has a fabulous voice for animation. If I were another animation studio, I'd be like, we gotta get her. And I also think that she has a deep voice, and that created the angst that was necessary for her character, this teenage girl. But Scarlett Johansson didn't go overboard with that. She gave her character a lot of heart, and it made her very likable and very relatable. And then Taron Egerton has the voice of an angel. He could totally have a singing career. I just was like, wow, there's nothing you can't do, Taron. I'm such a big Taron Egerton fan. And this just made me even more of one. But everybody's a great singer, and they kept building up the show. They were like, we're going to put on a show. And I was like, man, this show can't be good. There's no way it's going to live up to the hype. I don't think you should have spent your whole movie building up to this, because there's no way you can deliver. And then they did. They totally delivered. I was shocked. And I thought it was so great that these characters were struggling so hard, but you could see that they really did genuinely have talent. That was just, and so you were really rooting for them all the more. You were like, you deserve to succeed. You're not only talented, but you're a great person. You're a kind person. Oh, wow, this is amazing. And I think that the movie highlights, and so I have a checklist here, that while it's important to have talent and to be genuinely talented, it's also important to realize that success with your talent doesn't happen overnight. It takes time to hone it, and you have to have advice and support from other people. You need inspiration, and sometimes you need desperation to push you, to give you that final push. And that's all part of the magic, the magic showbiz. But that spark of talent does need to be there. That Buster Moon, he also has one idea to plus the stage that I don't want to give away, but everyone in the audience was like, that is an amazing idea. It's just such a good movie. It's the best movie I think Illumination Entertainment has ever made, and I'm counting the Despicable Me movies. And I think it's it caps off what's just been an absolutely fabulous year for animation. Like, wow, there's exciting things happening in animation. And I wish Sing were a stronger competitor during awards season, because it deserves to be, especially because it's about show business. And usually the entertainment industry loves to congratulate itself, like Argo and all those, the producers and like all these movies. And so why aren't they supporting Sing? So I loved it. Definitely a top pick for the holiday season. You should see it. As for seeing it in 3D, the press screening was in 3D. I thought it had a tremendous depth of field. It really made me feel like I was a part of the movie, but I could see you seeing it in 2D and it not being a problem. So you could go either way, but if you have a couple extra dollars, go for the 3D experience. It's a special movie. All right, I look forward to hearing your thoughts about the film down below, and you can check out some more videos right now.